Oh, I guess I'm live now. I was waving a little too early for you guys. Waving a little too early. But yeah, I'm live. I wish this thing was like, you know, uh, what is it? Portrait? Which was portrait, rather than this. There has to be a way of like fixing this on mobile. Has to be. Um, but today is a very special stream because I am testing out my phone, and I do have a idea that I want to run by, but I'm gonna have to have my whole setup. I don't have my whole setup right now, so I just wanted to do a quick little phone live stream both on Rumble and YouTube. Hopefully, the YouTube one is you know, working good. Uh, I don't know. I just put into the chat welcome if anybody is out there and whatnot. I know we started just very soon, very recently. But yeah, I'm here to show you one of my notebooks and what I wrote down in 2021. Because you might think that I am always negative about wrestling, or I'm always talking about the other things of wrestling, like, um, basically, if you want to call it politics, which that's not the kind of label that I would give myself, but commenting on societal things. It did not have to get to where it got to. That's all that's all because of the 24/7 activists that we have in the community. But today is just a little bit different. Today is just talking about wrestling and what I have and what I found, because I miss writing in general and by hand, even though we have a lot of what is it like digital stuff, technology stuff, and I could just easily open up like Microsoft Paint or like a document and start typing down stuff about like booking wise, and like talking about any kind of wrestling and stuff like that. I could do that, but I rather write stuff by hand, because that's how you retain most information. That's how I retain a lot of the wrestling knowledge that I know, and just by talking to people and stuff like that. But I do appreciate people coming on by. I am trying to grow Rumble. Sorry, YouTube, if that offends you guys, but I want to have at least. I don't like thinking about saying like-minded individuals. I really don't. I just want people to just use their common sense. That's what I want to do. If you saw yesterday's SmackDown, just a quick couple things about yesterday's SmackDown. I was bored. And then basically that Jade and Rhea promo was bad. That was bad. Just and a little borderline gay. Just borderline gay. I get it. Guys usually talk about like their muscles and their physiques, but it was just so cringe and draggy that, well, dragging, not draggy, but dragging, that it just didn't work for Rhea and Jade. It really didn't work for that. Um, I still would have liked Raquel to have won the Elimination Chamber so that way she could go face Jade, but not Rhea versus Jade. No, not Rhea versus Jade, uh, because it was like, what are we doing? That was like a very cringe promo to be like, oh, look at your muscles, and I was built for fighting, you was built for aesthetics, and like any fan knows that we could see this. We could obviously see that one is built different, the other one is built different, and one not. But Rhea is also built for aesthetic. Do you see how many people on Twitter are like, oh my god, she's a goth mommy, and like goth this and goth that, and they want the ideal of a, well, not really an idea of like whatever their girl wants to be in the future, of like, oh, they want to go date the hot gothic chick. So like Rhea is also built for aesthetic and also built for muscle and strength. However, have you guys noticed how much muscle that she doesn't put on lately anymore? Like when she first started to do like really bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff, she had like a lot of muscles, and people were drooling over the fact of muscle mommies, and I'm like, I listen, I don't like when women are like overly muscular, because it's like you're not a guy at that point. you could be like aesthetically pleasing where like it looks right on you, but if you're going overboard to try to be like a guy and be like, oh yeah, I'm better than a guy, look at my big ass muscles, that to me is like, nah, you don't have to do too much. You don't have to do too much. Ladies, you guys don't have to do too much to try to prove that you belong in male spots and, around males. Men are going to accept you either way, and males are going to, joke around at the way that they do. It's not like, it's not because of you, it's not because of anything, it's just how they're wired and how they think about stuff. And sometimes, most of the time, both men and women, don't think before they talk. So like, you don't have to try so hard to try to get their approval for anything. But the promo between Jade and Rhea was bad. And again, on Twitter, you can't criticize anything anymore. You can criticize stuff, but you really can't criticize, what you saw. And it's like, yeah, you can. It was just bad. They should have went, if it was really a problem, if Jade really thought that Rhea has all this creative control and stuff like that, and creative is very like in favor of Rhea, why didn't they lean into that? It wasn't like they were gonna lose any sponsors. If anything, it probably could have grown for sponsors. It probably could have grown for money wise, and then you could see like a true character forming about Jade, and you could still have the idea that Jade is jealous, because the focus should be on her. Like that should be her mentality. That should be her character. So why not? Like, controversy creates cash. Eric Bischoff taught all of us that, and look how much money like WCW made before, unfortunately going under due to other circumstances and other decisions being made. But if they would have just leaned into, you know, the whole drama and stuff, and even, Rhea having a personal issue with it, that would have made money. So far, I'm not really caring about, if, you know we see Rhea versus Jade at WrestleMania. Like, I'm not too like, yeah, let's do that. Aside from the promo and whatnot, they should, like I said, they should have leaned into the fact that, they had that personal problem online, just so that way it could create more cash, and it could blur the lines between, kayfabe and real. Like, that's how you also settle misconceptions. That's how you also settle other things too. Eventually, I will turn my camera around so we could like see what I've written in like 2021. It's just that I really wish that the Rumble Studio can, make it portrait and whatnot. That's what I wish. Um, but yeah, rather than you just be like, look at my eyes, guys. Look at my eyes. What do you see? What do you see, guys? Anyway, this is the most like weirdest thing. And yes, I am using my new tripod that my community bought for me off of my Throne wish list. But other than Jade versus what do you call it? Rhea. Also on SmackDown, we have a new WWE SmackDown champion, Cody Rhodes. Why? Why? That's my only question. Why do we have Cody Rhodes as champion again? Why? Um, I was enjoying Drew being Drew McIntyre, and I guess Drew is unfortunately the guy that you use to sort of, chase the belt. He's very good at chasing the belt. He's very good at creating the story. He's very good at creating the doubts and wanting people to be like, I want you to doubt this, I want you to doubt that, and whatnot. So, why? So that way we can have Randy Orton versus uh, Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, and I'm like, wow, I don't mind the match. Like, you don't need it for the championship title, because if Randy takes it off of Cody, what is Randy really going to do, right? Is Randy going to face Trick Williams next for that? I think, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes does not need a championship title for that. If we're going to do teacher versus student after all these years, I think that it could have been a very fun, entertaining build between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre heading to WrestleMania. versus Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton to WrestleMania. I think it would have been quite interesting for, you know, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre rather than anything else. Just because, like, it makes no sense. Um, we have, I think, Damian Priest and R-Truth like won their Gauntlet match, their tag team Gauntlet match, and I'm like, okay, um, I don't know. Maybe we have to say like the downfall of the downfall of Damian Priest needs to be studied. Um, And then also Charlotte and Alexa Bliss got their rematch against Nyla. No, not Nyla. I'm so sorry. Nia Jax and what is it? Lash Legend for their tag titles. But overall, I was just bored with SmackDown. But it's not SmackDown's fault. It was just I wasn't interested. Yesterday, I was not mentally wanting to like watch wrestling, so I had SmackDown on as like background noise but paying attention here and there, and those were just like my simple thoughts about it. But yeah, I think I don't know. SmackDown will probably be better next week, but I do think heading into WrestleMania, you have to make WrestleMania feel like a spectacle. You have to make it feel like a party. You can't just be like, oh my god, let's put these wrestlers together just because they're selling like the best tickets for like meet and greets, or they're selling the best tickets for fanatics and whatnot, or they're selling the best tickets for that, even though we say that like that's a measurement to be like you are the quarterback, which Cody Rhodes uses that all the time. But we say that we use that as like a measurement for how well a wrestler does, but I do think eventually we're gonna have to start maybe not putting that on a pedestal as much because we're seeing the same things over and over and over again, and there's no room for like something out of the ordinary. I wish that there was something out of the ordinary when it comes to um wrestling and like who's at the top, and there's way too many people going after the one big title. But you sort of want that, but you want to do it in a way where like it's not always the same reoccurring characters and whatnot. But yeah, that's my little take on WrestleMania coming up and SmackDown and stuff like that. The thumbnail of this does have the War Dogs, or the Dogs as they're called in AEW. If you guys don't know, David Finlay just recently joined AEW, and obviously I don't have happy tears for that, but it might just, I would say, take any kind of reporting done with a grain of salt. Because if you realize who is the manager or the agent to David Finlay, that same email also is with Clark Connors and also some other people within AEW. And whoever is behind that account, whoever is the one dealing with the contracts, is the one that ends up getting the most money for these guys. So I can't normally be like, oh my god, they're doing it for the money. Obviously, as a wrestler, you should be doing it for the money, but don't be obvious about doing it for the money. And I was saying that about Gabe Kidd, and Gabe Kidd is so obvious for the money that it's like I can't really get behind him as much as I used to, but I could still get behind like Clark Connors and David Finlay, because it's not as obvious. Like, yes, go and make your money because you need it. Everyone needs it to an extent for whatever reason it is. But don't be so obvious about it by saying that yeah, Japan #1. Yeah, I am a Japan guy all the way through. Yay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then you're talking shit about AEW, but then show up on AEW to do AEW things. Like, what are you doing, bro? But yeah, I don't know why we have this thing of like they can't take the War Dogs name. David Finlay should have probably copyrighted the War Dogs name so that way they could take the War Dogs over with them to AEW rather than just be calling the Dogs. So after all of that, um, I did look at the crowd. There was like maybe one person, maybe two people clapping that David Finlay has showed up and attacked, Darby Allin and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, cool. He showed up. But everybody else was just dead silent. I don't know what it is with like, we say all the time that they need like promo packages and hyping stuff up and whatnot and all this kind of stuff, but they kind of like just gloss over it and don't really do that, and then the crowd doesn't react to the way that it does. And it's like, this isn't a Japanese crowd, where the Japanese crowd traditionally would be like dead silent, and you'll be like, all right, cool. Not a problem. That means that you're doing something right. But now Japanese fans are vocal when it comes to wrestling stuff. But like American crowds, do something. If you're like at an AEW event and you're sitting in the hard camera area, where we could see that the reaction is really dead. And, I really don't want that for David Finley, because David Finley is like a good wrestler. He's a good guy to have on the roster. He's a good guy to help out with the rest of the boys. He's a good guy to ask for guidance if you need help with like either your character or, putting a match together. Like, he's one of the good ones, and he could definitely do it all. And I can understand that people on the timeline are conflicted, because you have half that will say that David Finley doesn't move the needle, David Finley doesn't make money, David Finley is this, that. I used to at one point think that David Finley, just because of like where they put him in the early days after he graduated, and they put him in the tag team with like Juice Robinson, and they had him with like Hontai and stuff like that. I didn't see it until he came into his own to do Bullet Club and Bullet Club War Dogs, and I was like, oh, this is great. He's finally shining and whatnot. So I can understand from both sides that like David Finley may not be everyone's, cup of tea, so to speak. But David Finley is a damn good soldier that you want on your team. You know, Not everyone can be a moneymaker, and that statement is not towards him specifically, because he has made money. He is definitely way over in Japan, and Japanese people, love him, and they like, basically we all followed him ever since he was a young lion into David Finley as we see him now. But I do say over and over again that New Japan Pro Wrestling's Young Lion program takes way too long to develop their stars. And I think that they need to sort of overhaul that and make it into a better system, so that way the young lions are not just doing the same repetitive stuff. Like, I get it, you want to build a foundation, you want to build the discipline. They have all that, they get all that. But they still need to be pushed a little bit further and faster in order to build up their characters. And then when they eventually leave, for whatever reasons that they want to leave, when it comes to the States, people know who they are. But then again, people know who David Finley is, and Finley made his own little mark over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, rather than like just trying to go straight to WWE. I had wanted him in WWE because I don't want him to get lost in the chaoticness that is AEW wrestling. Like, I wouldn't want him to get lost in that. The same way that other people get lost, and then all the negativity sort of floods the timeline, and all the stupid activism from the AEW side floods the timeline. And it's like, we're supposed to be celebrating the cool shit that the wrestlers are doing, and not the hangings, and not the syringes, not the fish tanks, not the cinder blocks, not like anything that is controversial, aka Brody King. We shouldn't be weeks on end talking about the negativity that ends up happening on AEW, but AEW can't like help themselves, and they think that they're the edgy promotion to be like, oh yeah, we do hardcore a little bit different and people love it. Not when the majority is like, what are you doing? Like, kids are watching this too. You might not think it is, but kids are watching this, and it's like a never ending battle. So I would never want any of that stupidity to be on a legacy name like David Finley, or any of that stupidity to be on a building legacy name of like Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd. Like, I wouldn't want that kind of shit. That's why I would think going over to WWE would have been the right thing. Now, if you want to believe the dirt sheets, that's on you, because most people are sheep and they want to cling on to something and whatnot. Even like, I don't even think that the money was like, why would they want to start David Finley off with like the NXT money of like $250,000? I think that they would have gave him a special deal. No one's really gonna know. Like I said, that I think that the management that handles AEW wrestlers tend to just say a bunch of shit to the dirt sheets, the ones that want access all the time, and they just put out whatever the fuck. Until someone gets David Finlay on their show to interview him and ask him, like, really that hard question of, hey, what is the real reason why you did not want to go to WWE or did not want to start in NXT? And then carefully ask him about, without asking him, was it the money thing? Like, you want the answer for the question, was it a money thing? But you have to be smart about how you ask it, so that way he can give you the answer without directly being like, no, no, that's not the answer. Um, so that way it doesn't like stop you from like anything else. But yeah, so like I really do think that they could have given him a special deal, and I really do think that Finley's dad could have like stepped in and sort of intervened and put in a good word or whatever, the same way that now they have Brogan Finley there, aka Uriah Connors, who is part of the little team of the Birthright over in NXT and whatnot. But it is what it is. Eventually, a little bit later, most likely David Finlay will end up being at WWE. Even if David Finlay signed like a multi-year deal, um, he's gonna go through everybody on the roster within like a year or less time, because everybody in AEW goes through the roster with no significant storytelling ability where you actually remember what the fuck happens. Um, they end up beating everybody or losing to everybody within 6 months to like a year, and then it's like, what the hell do we do? Like, that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why I think Will Ospreay, once he's like officially healed and stuff like that, and he wants to go back to New Japan to do a couple stuff and be back part of United Empire, like, because he beat everybody. What else is Ospreay going to do? What else are the AEW wrestlers going to do once they go through the whole entire roster? Not including, or maybe including, the people that are sitting at home doing absolutely fucking nothing, which is like a freaking crime for that to happen. Like, you sign people, you don't have a vision for them, but you tell them to sit home and they collect the paycheck. And then when fans are like, "Hey, we want to see you wrestle," the wrestlers are like, "Yeah, tell Tony Khan about that." But they just sit at home and whatnot. And by the way, wrestlers, like, it's a double-edged sword, because we want to see them in the ring doing what they love to do, but at the same time, sitting home, recovering, and letting your body rest from taking bumps is also a good thing too. But also just try to find like an outlet, so that way you can um start streaming, start building a community, start building people, because, like, you know, again, going back to the conversation when we were talking about in WWE about how we measure wrestlers like success and return on investment, ROI, based on like how many tickets are they selling, how many people are they bringing to um you know uh the promotion to watch, to buy tickets and stuff like that. Are people buying stuff at the merchandise table? Are you bringing new people every month? Like, that kind of thing. If you are one of those wrestlers in AEW or on the indies, make sure that you are using social media to your advantage in a very good way, where you are connecting with an audience, building a community. So that way, when you say, "Hey guys, I'm booked," or "Hey guys, I'm coming to a city near you for AEW," you guys are buying the ticket, you guys are going, you guys are buying merchandise, not only from the wrestler that you created a connection with, but everyone else that's like selling merch and stuff like that. Like, social media is a powerful tool when used correctly for what you want to do. But don't use it for bad shit. Don't use it for idiotic shit. Don't try to mouth off and be like, "I'm the smartest person in the room." No, the fuck you're not. You're not the smartest person in the room. There's always someone that's smarter than you. So, build, and do it your way, your pace, and stuff like that, if you happen to just be a wrestler and you're sitting at home, because at least then you're like relaxing, your body is relaxing, and maybe your bump card could be like extended for like a little bit longer. But yeah, I just think that with everything going on with AEW, that might have not been the right fit. But then again, I'm not like on any of their teams, meaning like I don't talk to them like that. But I do care. I do care about their legacy. I do care about their storytelling. I do care that they don't get a negative stigma because they're in AEW, and because the way that the AEW fandom decided to basically scare off any casual viewers, scare off any day one viewers. Like, I was a day one person for AEW because I believed in the message, but then it got hijacked by the sickos, and Tony Khan doesn't want to take any responsibility for that. And then the sickos got worse and worse and worse and worse, and wants wrestling to be for everyone. But you realize 5 years later, wrestling is really not for everyone, because everyone wants to be selfish. And when I say everyone, I mean the fans. It might apply to some indie wrestlers, but mainly the fans. The fans on that side who are like, wrestling's for everyone. We should enjoy it. There shouldn't be no tribalism. But the moment that you don't agree with any of their politics or any of their um, process or their own definition of what morality is, you are public enemy number one. And they will do everything in their power to silence you, when they will cry victim and be like, why are you silencing me? Why are you being a bully? But yeah, I just don't want three good guys that could tell really good stories. And we saw that in New Japan Pro Wrestling. However, I do not know why Clark even started the whole tire thing in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he brought out a tire and beating up people with a car tire. I should say a car tire. Beating up people with a car tire and changing his what do you call it? His character around for like 2025 and whatnot. But these guys can tell really good stories. These guys can really hype you up and really make you believe that, like, wrestling, the kayfabe is not dead. That's what I appreciate from David Finley, Gabe Kidd. Even though I have like a love hate relationship just because of like how things are done and handled, and Clark Connors, like those three guys can really do great for the business. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, leave them down in the comment section below, because we are both live on Rumble and also on YouTube. Again, I'm trying to grow my Rumble, so if you guys see this after the fact, just hit that like button, leave a comment, share it out, do what you gotta do. I'm trying to get to 100 followers, and by the way, I do call you guys friends rather than followers, because I really don't want you to feel like you're just a number. You're not just a number to me. I do remember people that come into my chat and chat it up. I do remember you guys. But yeah, you're not just a number. You're just, you're a friend. I'm trying to build both communities over on YouTube and Rumble. So now I'm going to show you my notebook, because that's what we're here for. Um, Yo, for Zitz, welcome to the chat. Um, I can't even watch WWE. The vibe is so cringe. I can tolerate AEW. Uh, okay. I mean, WWE is family friendly in a way. AEW is do whatever the fuck you want, because the inmates run the asylum. Um, yeah. So I'm going to switch cameras, so you're not going to see my face anymore. Because again, I'm doing this stream on my phone, um, but it's multitasking. Um, so give me a second here. I don't know how we're going to do this. Um, I am. Does that work? Oh yeah, I could do that. But is there no way that I can? I don't know. This is going to be mad weird. So you guys, yeah, you guys can see that. Oh my god. Is there a way? Is there a way on this? This is gonna be super interesting. Um Camera settings. Oh, yes, I could do that. I could do that. You guys can see my fingers and everything. This is a big ass notebook. Let me no. This is a big ass notebook. Okay, so how are we doing? We're doing good. Okay, we are doing good. Uh what's up? Yeah, sometimes it's bad too, but I rather have real personalities. I mean, I get that. I get that you want to have real personalities, But wrestling is meant to be an escape, not necessarily like, hey, here comes, John Smith of the Smith family that, you know, does ordinary things. But then again, you might be able to relate better to AEW personalities, which is totally fine. But I treat wrestling as like, give me kayfabe, not always like personal personalities, right? Because I honestly don't want to know something personal about a wrestler when it's none of my business. You know what I mean? That's all. But again, thank you for joining the chat over on YouTube. I appreciate it. I really do. Um, okay. So I really would like if this thing can turn into, I can't do anything else because it's only me. Okay, it's only me. If I do presentation, I can't even do presentation. Um, Background is just that. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do this to the best of my ability. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm testing this out. Um, this big ass notebook here has my like 2021 um, matches and ideas and wrestling stuff and whatnot, and some just ideas. I like to show you guys this because I found it. Sometimes I get too far into my head, and I sometimes forget like the cool things that I've done. Um, no, you got me wrong. I don't think real equals boring. I view Star Wars as real because it feels real and authentic. So it's not that I just want the stuff to come from the wrestler's heart, promos, name, all that. Even if they're boring to me, I like that it comes from their heart. Oh, I got it. I got it. Okay, I got it. Um, so this sticker here is Goddesses of War Wrestling. That's I did commentary for them back in like 2021, 2022. I should upload the commentary video in full for you guys over here on Rumble. I did at one point upload it over on YouTube, but the episode I did, freaking assholes decided to strike it down. You don't have the rights for it. And by the way, I just want to rant a little bit about all the wrestling networks that are around. So, like, as much as what is it, IWT, that like network or whatever it is, or when wrestling promotions end up putting their videos on a network that's like, I don't know how many people watch those networks, but like those contracts are annoying. And I knew my rights because I did not sign with the network company to like have my rights for them. It was a little confusing, but like these people ended up just being like, oh, but you still don't have the rights to it. The promoter should have talked to you about that. And it's like, we just agreed to do commentary. Well, I agreed to do commentary and get paid. There was nothing there about like I couldn't share it like a year or two after the fact. Like it's in my fucking thing. But those networks don't help out wrestlers at all. If you cannot show your whole entire match online because the fucking little networks that think that they all big and bad and shit have the right to just be like, oh no, you can't because that's property of ours. Man, fuck off with that shit. These wrestlers are trying to get WWE deals and whatnot, and highlights. Highlights can only do but so much. Especially when a wrestler needs to just give it to somebody to look at. Now, I understand that if they're giving it to somebody, they don't have all the time in the world, and they're gonna treat it like a regular job application. Where like if you send in a job application, it's like, oh, we don't have time to look at it. Just send me the bullet points. You're supposed to make sure that I'm a good fit for your fucking company. You're supposed to make sure that I'm a good fit for this and that, and you're telling me just to give you bullet points. That doesn't tell you who I am. And I say all this because like highlights, wrestlers always want to get the good highlights where it's like either a big power bomb or or the next move in the sequence, or how they kicked out and did like a reaction to it. But like those type of highlights to just show me the moves doesn't tell me who you are. Yeah, you could work a match. Yeah, you could do the moves. Yeah, you can put someone in a headlock. Congratulations. But tell me about your character. Tell me how, what story did you tell in the match? Don't just give like me a highlight reel. But then again, you know, I say this because over on patreon.com/Marie Shadows, I do one-on-one consultations for wrestlers if they ever want me to look at their match from a second point of view rather than highlights. And I think that people who are scouts should start looking at a whole entire match and just plan it out when they have time and not get like 20 wrestlers trying to be like, oh, I want a WWE contract. I want a WWE contract. Here's my match or whatever, because that would be like really, really overwhelming. But highlights don't really do shit. I want to know who the wrestler is, and like I want to know what I could connect with them. And if I can see the whole entire match of the wrestler, I can give them tips and guidance on how to connect with different audiences and give them tips and tricks of like, hey, if you're going from town to town to town, keep in mind that everyone is different. Also, if you're going town to town to town, if you're a wrestler, make sure you're talking to the fans that are paying the money to not only buy the merchandise, but also go to the venue. Talk to the fans. Um, I agree. That's why I think all leagues in the indies should post full shows with promos and segments on YouTube at the very least. Yeah, man. Like I totally wish they could, but like, whenever these wrestlers end up wrestling for specific promotions and the promotions put the videos up on those networks own it. And I'm like, yo, you're charging $10 a month or $100 a year to watch wrestling matches, but these wrestlers cannot use their own fucking match of the promotion to go and try to get a good deal with AEW, MOW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or even like NWA or WWE or NXT, because it's behind a paywall. What? Listen, I'm all for. Listen, I am all for what do you call it? Getting money and having a paywall and making it like a good community and stuff like that. I'm all for that. But you have to let the wrestlers keep their full matches and let them put their full matches up on YouTube, up on Rumble, up on Patreon. Well, listen, Patreon and like other places you could get away with it because technically it is your work. It's your body of work. These networks should not be like, oh my God, we have it behind a paywall. You signed a contract. First of all the independent all the independent wrestlers did not sign a contract with the network that their match is on. So if any of the independent wrestlers are listening to me, you could definitely tell them that in an email that like I did not sign with you and I did not sign with the promotion. Most independent wrestlers are on a hot dog and a handshake kind of deal where they still get paid and they might eat something, but that network should not have the right to say, "Oh no, you can't put up your full match." Yeah, like I hate that fucking shit. It hurts the people, because then like I don't know how many people stream those networks, but you know, as long as you're consistent and putting in the work, that's how people end up. It's by word of mouth in the little circle. But again, like these networks, man, I just wanted to rant on that because I dealt with that and I was just like, no, dude. I literally told them that I did not sign anything with the network. So I don't know about this whole shit of that. I don't have the rights to it. I did not sign anything for them to take away my right. So any wrestler out there that's listening to this, if you want to put your matches up, you should probably get in this, make a community and be like, listen, I did not sign with you. Next time, make sure that the contract goes out to everybody, and in the contract clause it says that you will also signing your right away for the network to have the right to your match, so you cannot do anything. If it's not in the contract, it's not legally binding. I get why they can't even use them personally. Yeah, there have been stories where wrestlers cannot use their match from a particular promotion that is on these small little wrestling networks that's supposed to be a very good thing. They can't even use it personally because of oh, you don't have the right. Oh, we signed away the rights. Also, indie wrestlers do sign a waiver, and within that waiver, well, I don't know about that, but I do know they sign a waiver just in case if like anything happens, the company is not liable. But yeah, most indie wrestlers, well, the majority of indie wrestlers cannot put up their match personally. I get why you can't post a home match. You did on Raw, but the indies too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, those have like big corporations like that. That I won't go against. But the whole indie circuit, like, how am I supposed to know who these wrestlers are if I don't have enough money to pay on a monthly basis, the wrestling networks to watch them? Like, ah. Maybe wrestlers should make it a point when accepting matches to clarify whether or not they can use this match for their references. That's a good point. I know that some wrestlers do that to try to be like, can I use this? Can I not use this? Not every promotion is on these like networks, which I know you guys know which networks I'm talking about, but yeah, it's their work. They need it for references. They need it to call up or hire people that make edits for their videos, for the highlight streams and the reels and everything like that. And they can't use it because the fucking network people are like, oh, we have the right to that match, not you, bro. You're just a fucking network on the internet. Like, man, yeah, sorry. My situation got me heated when that shit happened. I was just like, what the fuck you mean you're striking my video so that way I can't have it to get bookings to do commentary. The fuck you mean? I didn't sign with you guys, and I didn't sign with the damn network company. And anyway, it was a freelance gig. You would think like being a freelancer, like everything would be in the contract or whatever, but no, and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, just wanted to rant about that. Oh, and it wasn't for Goddesses Award. It was for another promotion that is no longer, oh, to my knowledge, no longer around. But it wasn't Goddesses Award. I am very thankful for all the opportunities that I had got with Goddesses Award. Um, It's getting pretty bad. WWE is doing it too. One of the reasons I stopped watching WWE is not just because it's cringe, but because I have to get like three different services to watch it. Um, yeah, I remember Stephanie was like, "Yo, just get a VPN." Yeah, yeah, I remember that. It is. It's getting ridiculous. But then again, this is what happens when, you sign with TKO, and you go by their rules and whatnot. Back in the day, I worked on the WWE Network, and that was viewed by like a million plus subscribers, and I wish that they could have taken the WWE Network to like really, really great heights. Good times, man. Good times that I used to work on the WWE Network. I miss those days. Um, which, yes, I'm a former WWE employee, bringing you live streams talking about wrestling now. But yeah, like it's crazy for Stephanie to be like, yeah, we need a VPN and whatnot to do this. But I do think that it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous to get ESPN, to get this, to get that, to pay for this, to pay for that. And it's like wrestling fans across the board do not have money like that. They may have money like that, but they're like taking out mortgages and going into debt and whatnot. I mean, you guys see them at WrestleMania and stuff like that and like really big events, but I think across the board, like it needs to change. It needs to change. Yeah, man. WWE Network was the best thing, man. WWE Network was the best thing. Okay, so let me eventually open this notebook. Um, I'm gonna put it here for a second. You guys are gonna say hi to the pen. Um, so back in 2021, I was writing up, what is it, like an essay for like I don't know. I was back in the day when we had like the Winnipeg stuff with Jericho and Kenny and whatnot, and I called it the Winnipeg Mafia back in like AEW. But like this is what I do when I brainstorm and stuff like that. I basically like write everything down. See, write everything down. Try to get my notes going. I wish again I wish that they can update the Rumble Studio so that way I can like have this portrait. All of my side notes and stuff like that back in 2021. Over here too. Over here, like this is just how I keep my notes and everything. But yeah, this was an article at one point. I have like all my saved articles on, you know, on my laptop and stuff. Um, so articles. I like to write stuff by hand. That's how I just like remembered it and stuff like that. Um, I just wanted to show that off. Oh my god, my notebook is about to fall. Um, I wish we can. You know what? Let me do it like this. You know what I'll do? Give me a second here. Let me pop my phone out of the tripod so that way I can ah, so that way I can go closer with this. Okay, so this was the New Japan Cup 2021, right? And I'm showing you guys this because what I'm gonna say after all of this is what I have in mind for my idea. So New Japan Cup, right? This was the new like J Pan Cup because Jay White was still here. And again, this is in 2021. So what I did was that I literally went down the line of like when it starts 3, 4. And by the way, we are currently in the New Japan Cup. So I numbered everything, dated everything, right? Date. And then over here, like I created a sort of just handwritten like, oh, who would win? So we had Kojima versus Jeff Cobb, and as much as I love Kojima, I was just like, oh, Jeff Cobb at this time, and then Naito versus the Great Okan. I chose Naito, but they chose the Great Okan. And then like I just go along the thing. And I said that Chase would interfere, but we don't talk about Chase Owens on this channel. But he's here, so I just have to. I said that like Fale was gonna win, but Yano wins, and Yano always finds a way to win. Always finds a way to win. Goto versus Taichi. I said Goto. You get the idea. Um, you get the idea. This was when like Gabe Kidd before he like changed into a madman. Tenzan, I think Tenzan also retired too. Osprey because like it's Tenzan. Tenzan is gonna be like the veteran that puts people over. We have Nagata winning over Yota Tsuji. Tsuji was my pick. Listen, I've been a Tsuji girl since like day one. Okay, like I love Tsuji. But Nagata had won, which is weird. Sonata over Ishii. This was when Ishii was the Stone Pitbull. If you see Ishii now in AEW, it's like, what the fuck is happening? I don't know, man. This was when I did not believe in David Finlay. So if Finlay ever sees this, and if I ever interview him, he might start, with like, oh, you never believed in me, and I'll be like, I'm so sorry, so sorry, I never believed in you. Um, Yeah, we don't talk about him on this channel. Um, Yoshihashi over Yujiro Takahashi from what is it? House of Torture. Uh, Before Hinare became Hinare, he had Toa Hinare ahead of time. But my buddy here, this is the time when I was just like, look, man, I'm a Jay White girl fan, but I'm also a Hinari fan too. So, Evil versus Jeff Cobb. Evil moved on. Yeah, you can see that. This over here too, and then Goto and Okada, and then this was here. But yeah, I literally like handwritten all this stuff down and like planned it out to be like, oh, who's gonna win the New Japan Cup? And this was fun. And most of the time when I do this, Gato is like, Marie, you have your picks. Fuck your picks. And that's exactly what he's done like every fucking year. That I was like, oh my god, let's plan. Who wins the New Japan Cup? But Gato over here, one of the bookers, were like, no, we're not going to go with any of her picks. But yeah, I wanted to share that. Oh yeah, it goes off to the next part too. Oh yeah, that's if you guys want to know my consoles, just randomly if you guys want to know. Uh, but yeah, so Fale versus Evil. It's kind of weird looking back because in 2021 they were uh, enemies because Evil had House of Torture and Fale was with Bullet Club, one of the remaining OG members as well for Bullet Club. But now, Fale is with House of Torture, and it's like, what the fuck is happening, New Japan? Um, yeah. And then Evil versus Yano, Okada versus Kenta when Kenta was still there. We had Okada going over Osprey versus Ishii. Ishii went over Osprey, and obviously Jay went over Chase. And then we had Ishii versus Jay and Evil versus Okada. I talked about all of this on the Square Circle podcast. And then I said the wild card would be Finley to win. Even though I said earlier that I didn't believe in Finley, but like my wild card was Finley. Evil versus Yano. This is what I had planned out. And then April 4th is usually, oh, sorry. April 4th is usually when everything, like, the finals and whatnot. Osprey versus Ibushi. What was I writing? Where does Ibushi come in here in 2021? What the fuck? I don't remember. Oh, maybe that was just a regular match. Cause I was like, when the fuck did Osprey versus Ibushi happen? Because Ibushi is not in the New Japan Cup, so yeah, it's sort of like where the fuck did that happen? I'm trying to remember, but yeah, either way, that's what I was writing out, and I wanted to share this too, where it's wrestling 2021 match standouts, right? As you can see, March 22nd, 2021. Down the list. Up to 33. I did not get very far. I started in January and then ended it here. I just realized that this and this is the same one. Anyway, if you guys don't know, I also do tape study where I go over and break down wrestling matches and improve the wrestling match and give real good suggestions about it and whatnot. And I have some here on Rumble and the rest on Patreon and some on the Spotify Square Circle podcast and whatnot. And I was just thinking, I don't know, you guys could leave me comments below and even on the VOD if I should just boot up one of these matches and talk about it and we like relive it in 2021. uh like See, I used to watch AEW, but then the fandom just like was like, no, we don't want you here, and dragged my name and shit. um Kenny Omega versus Phoenix for New Year's Smash Night 1. That was in January. Chris Bay and Raj versus Merrick and Suicide. That was also a good one too. Tay Conti versus Serena Deeb. I do not remember this match at all. Um, So I don't know. Um, I am probably bad holding this and like telling you guys these matches. Uh, a- Again for Hard to Kill, it was Chris Bay versus Merrick versus Raj. I want to say Raju, but I might be fucking up his name. uh, Kenny and Gallows and Anderson versus Moose, Swan, and Sabin at Hard to Kill. This was when, like, I think the time around Kenny was TNA champion and shit like that, and we all didn't like it because we were like, "Yo, we can see the signs." Jay White versus Kota Ibushi. Oh my god, this match for Wrestle Kingdom, Jay White versus Kota Ibushi was like a damn good match, man. A damn good match. I bet you if we watch it today, well, not like today, but like if we watch it in 2025, I still might remember the fucking emotions that I had for Jay White versus Kota Ibushi, man. Jay White is one of the best out there, and he had to go sign with AEW. This is what I fucking mean. Like, New Japan brings out the best in people, and Kota Ibushi before everything else was, is really good and shit. But like Jay White just gets it, okay? Man, Jay White versus Kota Ibushi. I don't know if we ever want to do a tape study of like revisiting that shit. Hiromu versus Sho. Hiromu and Sho are very good no matter what. This was at the New Beginning for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship title. God. So it says God here, but it's God, the Gorillas of Destiny, which is Tamatanga, Tungaloa, and if you want to add Hikuleo, aka Talatanga. They're all in WWE right now. But Gorillas of Destiny versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship titles. This is a good match. Uh, Jay White and the God versus Ishii and Goto and Yoshihashi. Kenta and Kenny versus Mox and Archer. Yeah, they were having you know issues amongst each other, even though I will say that Kenta versus John Moxley is still a sucky ass fucking match to this day. I even got like a t-shirt. I think I won a t-shirt or something that they gave me where it was like promoting Kenta versus John Moxley. And I was like, no, that fucking match is horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Anyway, Yoshihashi versus Tungaloa. That was a good one. Castle Attack Night 1. And Tamatanga versus Goto for Castle Attack Night 2. We don't talk about him, but versus Yano. I don't know why. Why the fuck did I put this here? This is for the this is a strap match for the King of Pro Wrestling. Um yeah, I don't know. We could just put an X on that one. Jay White versus Ishii, Castle Attack Night 1, and God and versus Yoshihashi and Goto, Castle Night Tech 2. ELP versus Bushi. Bushi is a little bit different from Bushi. Bushi was part of LIJ versus Despy for the junior heavyweight title. That was in California. ELP and Taiji Ishimori, they were a good tag team versus Yoshinobu and Desperado. Gabe Kidd before he became a madman versus Zack Sabre Jr. in the New Japan Cup. Jay White versus Hinari in the New Japan Cup, like I went over. This one was a good one too, in a way. Finn Juice was the combination of David Finlay versus David Finlay and Juice Robinson versus the Good Brothers. Osprey versus Zack Sabre Jr. Jay White versus Tanahashi. This was a good match. This was a good match. We should watch this one. Goto versus Shingo is also a good match. Kenta versus Suzuki, aka Murder Grandpa. Jay White versus David Finlay. These two guys are amazing. These two guys are amazing. If you want to know the reason why I'm doing this live stream is because when I do the next live stream, I will name that next live stream Stop Slandering David Finlay on the Timeline, because you motherfuckers keep slandering his name. Stop slandering his name. Thank you. Um, Kenta versus Shingo. Uh, Shingo is good at like everything. Osprey versus Sonata, Osprey versus Finley. This is also a good match, also as well. Osprey versus Shingo. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in the Lights Out match. That was a damn good match. That was. Kenny Omega versus John Moxley in the Exploding Barbed Wire match. Why do I have that here? Why do I have the Kenny Omega versus John Moxley Exploding Barbed Wire match? Why the fuck do I have it here? We all laughed at that one. Why did that make my Wrestling 2021 match standouts? Why? Why? I'm gonna put a question mark here. Like, I mean, the community and myself, we could watch this, and we could laugh at it. We can laugh our asses off at it because it was bad. It was bad. By the way, if anybody is interested, if I do decide to do a tape study on any of these matches, just to revisit it and talk about it and get the feelings going back and whatnot, YouTube will bring the band hammer down on me. So please make sure that you are following either patreon.com/Marie Shadows or rumble.com/user/Marie Shadows. Because what I do, excuse me, what I do is educational. Okay, I pause. I'm a reactor. I talk about it for like, however long. I rant about it. I do all the reactor stuff. So I do things for educational purposes. It's not just like, oh my God, let's watch the match. Let's get paid for it. I'm not like that. I'm more like, hey, let's break it down. Let's analyze it. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we could do differently. Let's think outside the box and stuff like that. I basically analyze the match as we're going through the matches. Again, I have multiple examples on Rumble, multiple examples on Patreon, and also some examples within the Spotify channel of the Square Circle podcast. So let me just turn off my camera for a second and see. Okay. I guess the next time I'll show you guys like how I do my interviews for wrestlers, because I don't want to make this live stream a little too long. But what I wanted to do, right? Um, I know you guys can hear some stuff. Because I'm trying to find a really good page. Um, Let me put my phone back on my tripod so that way I can tell you guys what I'm going to do for the next idea for the next stream. Oh my God. Okay. This is why I need to see how I could do this on my laptop, right? Um, because this will be very interesting. Uh, and it is the 7th. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to do something where I'm writing, right? I mean, you guys may not see the full picture, but I wanted to do stuff where I'm writing and I'm like, we're gonna book. Um, for the sake of this, we're gonna call them the war dogs. Only because it's like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep them as the war dogs. We can't get sued for it. This is just booking. Um, so this is what I have in mind for the next live stream, where I will be doing this and I'll be looking at the chat, and I really would like, my buddies to come over and chat with me and, talking about this kind of stuff where we're booking and how I would book. The difference is that, like, I'm going to have my host setup and try to do a double camera in order for this to work. Or we could just keep it like this and I try to pay attention to chat the best way that I can. Um, and try to figure this out. But again, I don't want like my phone to like melt because I'm using my phone for the live stream and whatnot. I just want to bring different types of content to Rumble because I want to take full advantage of the Rumble Premium and I want to build a community and like just make wrestling a little bit more fun when we're talking about it. And it's not just like, oh, what is Melsa doing this week? What is the wrestling journalist doing this week? What news reports can we like, report on and stuff like that? And it's like, I miss where we could have a fun community. Now, I will say this though, that like ever since I deleted my Discord basically group, I don't miss it. I have Patreon. I have a free what is it? Group chat over on Patreon that you guys can join. Patreon is free to join. You don't even have to click on a membership unless you want like the extra benefits and the extra stuff that I put up on there, which is all like detailed and whatnot. But like, I don't miss Discord. I really don't. But I do have a free Patreon chat for all the wrestling fans that want to chat with me and then talk about this kind of stuff. But yeah, this is what I have in mind. As you can see, booking the War Dogs in WWE because all you motherfuckers like are slandering David Finlay and shit, just because he went over to AEW, and it's like, guys, Finlay is a smart dude. Finlay knows what he's doing. I'll let him do what he wants to do. But I would, just to get people excited, right? I would do uh the War Dogs, right? Which is Finlay, Connor's um kid, right? Versus um MFT, which is, we got to throw in Tama in there. We got to throw in Loa, and we could either do what do you call it? Oh my god, Solo or uh, I was gonna write Cobb, but my brain is like, no, it's Mateo. Um, Mateo or I know it's Talatonga, but listen, I like Hikaleo a lot better. Why he couldn't keep Hikaleo, I have no fucking idea. But I like Hikaleo a lot better. And by the way, Hikaleo owes me an interview. Okay? Hikaleo owes me an interview. I don't know when I'm gonna get an interview out of him, but Hikaleo owes me an interview. Um, but yeah, I would do something like this. Because I rather bring in, and I should be saving this for the next stream, but I want to get you guys hyped. We should be you know doing trios in WWE. Um and not falling through. Not falling through, but we should be doing trios in WWE. That is how I would bring in the War Dogs. I will bring them in as a 3-man team, because ever since like the Shield days, we don't really have a bona fide trios team anymore in WWE. You could put 3 people together, you could put anybody together. That doesn't mean that they're going to be a solid unit, a solid faction for it to work with all the chemistry and everything. Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, and Finlay have that chemistry that is missing within WWE. Like, I would bring them in as a trios. That's why I would have them feud with MFT for like a little bit. But yeah, this is the idea for the next live stream. Let me know if you want me to do like exactly this from my phone or my setup or anything like that. But I wanted to like just make a little live stream today talking about my thoughts on WWE SmackDown, ranting a little bit about the indie network promotions that have the wrestling matches, and then showing you my list of wrestling stand down matches and shit like that, and then what I have planned for the idea for the next one. So, guys, if you could do me the greatest favor is tell a friend, tell them to follow the Rumble channel, follow the YouTube channel if you want to as well. But I am really wanting to focus on the Rumble channel, just because I see it's a community where I can talk freely and give you guys like cool shit like this. It will be streamed to both YouTube and Rumble, but uh, if you're over on the Rumble side, click that button, click that follow button, repost the video, leave a comment, do all those cool things. And yeah, if you're watching the VOD, just let me know your thoughts down below. I do interact with everyone that leaves a comment. But yeah, um, guys, have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in and chatting with me. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, look out for the next stream. I really, really do appreciate you guys. Shout out to Frost that was chatting with me from the YouTube side of things. Um, Appreciate you. Appreciate people coming in and whatnot. But yeah, this is the next topic to do where we can, go around and start making stories and how we will book WWE. By the way, I do sort of miss you guys, so that's why I decided to stream. But yeah, have a wonderful Saturday. Over here in New York, it looks like it's going to rain, so I might not, end up heading nowhere. But yeah, happy Saturday, guys. I'll see you guys on the next stream.